Rigid joints. When we create a rigid joint, we are essentially removing all the degrees of freedom between the two components, and therefore the two parts will act as one and they're rigid. So you can think of this as a welded joint, for example. So what we're going to do, and you're going to see that this is a grounded one. So I'm going to move this one over to the grounded. So I'm going to do this by going up to the joint command, and I'm going to choose a rigid type. All right, so I'm going to connect the first origin, and I'm going to pick this centerpiece here as my first, and then as my second one's highlighted connect, I'm going to come over here and pick on this endpoint here, and it'll flip it around and it'll place it on there, and I'll say okay, and you can see that it's been attached to each other and it's now a rigid connection. I'm going to undo that. Let's do that again. I'm going to go up to joint. I'm going to say rigid, and I'm going to connect the first one, and this time I'm going to make it into a T shape. I'm going to pick it over here on this center point here, and I'm going to spin it around, and I'm going to pick it over here on this corresponding center of the face, and it will lock those two together. I'll say okay, and now that is a welded basic connection, or it's a rigid connection. So this will be treated as one piece, one actual piece, so like it's a welded piece. So this is the rigid joint. So remember, a rigid joint eliminates all degrees of freedom of the component. And so the two parts act as rigid parts, and you can think of it as a welded part.